He's an artist just painting pictures out there. That's how Jordan Addison describes his game. We give a big welcome to the newest Minnesota Viking just now. And I'm Tatum Everett inside TCO Studios, welcoming you into our draft preview show. I've got Ron Johnson, Gabe Henderson alongside me in studio. And I'm so excited to have you two in particular, because who better to talk about the newest Minnesota Vikings wide receiver than two former receivers? You guys feel at home with this pick?
I like this pick from the jump. I know we talked a little bit last night about, okay, what guy fits for this Minnesota Vikings team at 23. About 2 months ago, I said Jordan Addison is the guy. If he falls to this Minnesota Vikings team, you cannot trade up or trade down. So the fact that we got him in the spot that we did, I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm partially biased being a former wide receiver, but at the same time, a guy with this caliber, you love to have him on your team.
And I'd say, the question about the weight, at 173 pounds, 5'11", this is what people don't understand. The guy is strong, though. Like, athletes are not just, like, smaller framed and they don't do anything. The kid works out. He lifts weights. I mean, you can see there the explosive speed, taking hits. Like, he played at Pitt for 2 years, played at USC, big-time football. And so, again, that's just everybody's so caught up in you have to be 200 pounds. You have to be – there's a kid right here, there's a football player. Yep. And that's what sometimes you need. You need a guy willing to play football. And Devonta Smith, same questions were asked of him as the Biletnikoff winner before. Another Biletnikoff winner coming here. Devonta Smith, everybody's like, oh, he's small, he's this. And what did he do? They went out there, him and A.J. Brown became one of the top duos in the NFL. So I think he'll be just fine. He's going to fit perfectly with Justin Jefferson.
It's also adding youth to this roster. He's 21 years old, guys, just turned 21. Gabe, now that you've had about 24 hours to really see, not even really.
21 hours.
21, right? To even sit down and look at this pick a little bit more. After that, has your opinion changed, or what have you thought?
It's gotten stronger.
Yeah.
This is a guy that you get younger with a position, a guy like this at 21 years old, but you also look towards the future with the future, I guess, contracts on this team. And you say, okay, KJ Osborne only has 1 more year left. Jalen Naylor has a couple more years left. Justin Jefferson, you're going to extend him. So why not bring in a young, sure wide receiver that keeps you at that young age, but also gives you value at that pick? So I'm still sticking with the guns on this. I think he's a really good guy at this selection, and this Minnesota Vikings fan base is going to be very, very excited with what they get in Jordan Addison.
Well, we're obviously not the only ones who are reacting for this Vikings this Vikings first-round draft pick. There's also a few people around the nation reacting to this, including some experts who we thoroughly trust. ESPN draft analyst Jordan Reed said Jordan Addison is going to fit the Robert Woods role well for the Vikings and O'Connell's offense. What do you guys think of that?
Well, if you look at the Rams, it's multiple sets. And so that means you're going to have a guy like Jordan Addison who can play in the slot. He can play outside of Justin Jefferson 1 by 1, where if Justin Jefferson runs a deep post, Jordan Addison runs the deep over. If Justin Jefferson runs the corner, Jordan Addison is going to run either a comeback or a dig. So they're going to pair well together. And what Woods did was, take the top off. Like, he's going to be a guy that if a safety jumps JJ on a dig, you're going to have Jordan Addison over the top on a post. And that's just a recipe for success for the Vikings, disaster for a defense having to face those two guys.
Well, ESPN senior NFL reporter Jeremy Fowler said Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison brings some serious route savvy for the Vikings offense. Which brings me to my next couple of tweets, which is from Caleb Evans, the Vikings corner. He said, it's going to be lit at practice. It's going to be crazy. So he was really excited. He was also at the draft party last night. Someone else also at the draft party last night, Josh Metellus, says 8 is going to have a field day.
Oh, my gosh.
Right?
This makes so much sense for Kirk Cousins. He's getting more weapons, and he's got 2 guys. I know I said last night, Jordan Addison has his doctorate's degree in running routes. Justin Jefferson, he's already past that. So you have 2 guys that really, I guess they pay attention to the details. Why not give Kirk Cousins those options? And a guy in Robert Griffin who played with Kirk Cousins had this to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's calling Jordan Addison a smooth operator. Last night, A.J. Brown called him a smooth criminal. It feels like that's a common theme for Jordan Addison, but what I think impressed Robert Griffin as well is the suit game, guys. The swag is there, too.
Hey, I mean, that's the Detroit player right there. I like the pink. I mean, it's coordinated, because there were some guys that didn't coordinate it, but he can pull it off. I like the white sunglasses.
Jalen Carter.
Feeling like a little bit of a Soldier Boy, but, like.
A little Nas X feel?
Is that a bow tie?
That's a bow tie. I've never seen a bow tie, pink bow tie.
But, yeah, I mean, I like it. It's jazzy. It has swag to it. When you think about the way Justin Jefferson dressed,
was going to say, he's got some competition now,
exactly.
huh?
Now you're going to have a lot of work as these guys head to the plane and the bus. But Jordan Addison, and going back to what Robert Griffith said, and a Caleb Evans, DBs get better when receivers challenge them in practice, and I think at Caleb Evans, those DBs are going to get so much better. Think about Xavier Rhodes and Stephon Diggs, how they made each other better. You're going to have the same thing now. JJ was already making these guys better.
Yeah.
Now you have Jordan Addison.
Well, you know, you've got Unreal hoodies going on right now. Ron, I know that this is a thing that you're a big fan of. And so this season ticket members are also a fan of this. It's an exclusive drop from Unreal. And Viking season ticket members, you use as a friendly reminder, you only have 2 days left to order that one. The pre-order window closes on Sunday. See your email for details. Reach out to your Vikings ticket representative for more information if you have not done so. And I also want to tease this for you, Gabe. You just sat down with Jordan Addison before the presser, and that interview will be dropping very soon. Now, we've got another member. We're going to welcome in another friendly face to the show, Vikings radio analyst Pete Bursich, who did a deep dive into some Jordan Addison film.
Thanks, Tatum. Now, what separates the men from the boys as a wide receiver in the NFL is the ability to create separation. Let's take a look at a couple plays where Jordan Addison really does a great job with that. This first one right here, you're going to see him playing against off-zone coverage. What you'll notice is this safety's going to vacate the zone because of a crossing route, leaving this back part of the field wide open, right? We got that established. But watch Addison. These little moves that he makes are what makes him a great receiver. You'll see him. He steps up, the head fake to the outside. That's the key. When he makes these double moves, he's always looking. So his vision's going here. Watch what that effect has on the defender right on top of him. He turns the man way, the man turn. He turns his body all the way around, and because his body is completely out of position, he gets this DB out of position. It allows him to plant that foot, get to the middle of the field. Now with an NFL quarterback, Kirk Cousins, it's a touchdown, but a great job of setting up the route and creating space against the defender. All right, we saw him create separation with off coverage. How about with a little bit of press here? It's not, press man jam, but this is press zone. Watch the initial movement. The initial movement is outside, and what that does is that pulls that corner outside a little bit to the point where he gets there, over the top. This corner had to work so hard to get back on track, to squeeze him. Now he's going to use that against him. Again, getting the DB to get himself out of position, plants that foot, works his way over the top. Look at that. It gets held, the guy falls on the ground. He's wide open. He's as wide open as the guy's going to be. And then, oh, by the way, makes that move right there at the end. Not a great play for that guy. Tatum, I love the way this guy creates separation. That's what makes a great NFL receiver, and this guy has it.
I could almost hear the excitement just oozing out of Pete's voice as he was doing that film room.
And he's a defensive guy.
And he's a defensive guy. I heard you, while we're watching, you said it was just silly.
It's silly how he just makes guys look like rookies as DBs. And to be able to do that at that age, remind you, this guy won the Biletnikoff Award at the age of 19, and he's 165 pounds. So to make all those DBs that are bigger, taller than him look like, freshmen, guys who have never played defensive back, that's just silly. I can only imagine what that's going to look like here in purple this upcoming year.
I'd say for a 173-pound receiver,
soaking wet.
The NFL is not what it used to be. You can't just punch guys in the head anymore. You can't get really aggressive like when my dad played in the 70s. It's not that NFL. Guys now, it's a lot more technique-driven. You can't hold within a certain, used to be able to jam 5 yards and just crush people. So it's changing. So it fits to his game, like Gabe said. His ability to move those feet. He has really good feet when for a young guy.
All right, well, let's take a look at the NFC North draft picks that we witnessed last night in the first round, because we're not just having our eyes on the Vikings here. The Bears choose Darnell Wright, 10th overall out of Tennessee, an offensive lineman. The Packers, Lucas Van Ness, an edge player from Iowa. And the Lions with 2 picks in the first round, Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back out of Alabama, Jack Campbell, the linebacker out of Iowa. Ron, I'd like to start with the Bears. Oh, no, the Lions.
No, Bears.
Bears, that's right. I want to start with the Bears. They drafted, they moved down, went with Darnell Wright. Were you expecting that?
Yeah, because Courtney Cronin had them taking Skoronski out of Northwestern, so I knew it was going to be an offensive lineman. I think, again, a lot of the media people who say a certain guy, they don't really know I mean, seriously, they're just going off of what people are texting them. And so this clearly was a guy that Poles had his eye on. If you have a franchise quarterback and you want to make sure he stays a franchise quarterback, you protect him. And so Darnell Wright was a great pick out of Tennessee. And for the Bears, they want to look like the Eagles. I mean, Justin Fields can do exactly what Jalen Hurts can do, maybe not throw as well, but run for sure. And so now you protect them in some of these throws. And of course, we know they got DJ Moore. So the goal is to throw the ball a little bit because he had no targets. No weapons to throw to. So now you got to protect him if he's going to throw.
And here we have Lucas Van Ness for the Packers. You know, I'm a person who believes that if someone shows you who they are, you better believe it. And the Packers have shown us season after season they're going to draft a defensive player in the first round. No matter how many times we thought they were going to do a weapon, it wasn't a knock on Aaron Rodgers. They truly, truly believe in getting talent in the first round on the defensive side of things. So I'm actually not surprised with this one as much as maybe others are. Gabe, 2 picks in the first round for the Lions. What do you think about those two guys?
I like both of those guys, but I am surprised by the Packers pick. I thought they were going to go wide receiver.
They are who we thought they were.
They got rid of Aaron Rodgers.
That was in my head.
Well, the Lions they are who we thought they are also, but they're kind of changing my opinion. You get a guy in Jahmyr Gibbs, a running back from Alabama, runs a 4-3. You add him to that offense that already has, a really good offensive line. It does make things a little bit scary for the NFC North. They do have 3 running backs on roster though, and David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift. So that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But Jack Campbell, he's a really good linebacker. So I'm interested to see how that all shakes out for their defense because we don't know what the Lions are going to do. The Lions always lying, like Ron Johnson says.
And they got a lot of picks.
And they got a lot of picks. 3 picks in the second round. So that'll be interesting. But hey, this Minnesota Vikings team, they're the team to beat.
Hey, that was a great segue, Gabe, right into the second round, third round talk from tonight. The clock starts at 6 o'clock, and the Vikings will be on with their remaining pick in the third round. For today, there's only one, but there are a couple more on Saturday as well. Let's dive into who you think the Vikings can choose in the third round. We have pick number 87. Ron, who do you think would be a name to watch for that spot?
I had 2 guys, Keely Ringo, but I do really like DJ Turner out of Michigan. He's a Big Ten guy. If you watch him play against Ohio State, and that's where I look at, because he played against Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, and he was actually doing a good job. And he plays well. He ran a 4.26. So you're talking about a cornerback with speed, a cornerback that can carry a receiver all the way down the field, have no problems. He's not afraid to hit. And he's a Michigan kid. And so Michigan, I love Michigan because what they do, when they get interception, and for people not from Detroit, they don't know about it, they put on the buffs. And when they put the buffs on, it's these sunglasses. They cost a ton of money. It's actually made out of, I think, buffalo tusk or something. But the buffs are just, they call them turnover buffs.
Okay.
So when you get an interception, you put the buffs on. And so it's a Detroit thing, so you got to know about that. But I love him as far as his speed, his size, 5'11". He's a kid with the speed that can play press man and fits what Brian Flores wants to do.
Yeah.
All right, Gabe, your day 2 pick.
Day 2 pick. If we don't go cornerback, we got to go linebacker. And a guy that I really like is DeMarvion Overshown from the University of Texas. He's a big frame guy, 6'3", 230 pounds, uses every single inch of his body to make plays. He moved from safety to linebacker, so he already understands the big play perspective, seeing all 11 guys or all 22 guys on the field. But you put him down in the box now and tell him to go forward, this is what happens. He's always around the ball, always understands how to get to the defender. And for this Brian Flores defense that likes to dance like that, but also likes to blitz, he fits us in an immense way. I just look at what this guy can do in 2 years. Year 1, kind of put him as a Brian Asamoah type of player. Let him play special teams, get a good speed, a good feel of the speed of the game, and then let him be that next interior linebacker alongside Brian Asamoah that can come downhill and make plays for this Minnesota Vikings defense.
I was just hoping that we could see that dance again.
I want to draft him so I can ask him what that dance was. Like, what was that?
I don't know.
The cold shimmy? Like,
Something like that.
It's on
brand. Okay, I've got my pick. My day 2 name to watch, and I'm going to look at my screen while I do so because it is a tough one to pronounce. Northwestern State defensive tackle Adetomiwa Adebariye. And the reason I think so is because I really think this defense needs to be big up front. We need a meaty guy in the middle. He's not the prototypical defensive tackle size, but he makes up for that in just raw athleticism. A 4.49 40-yard dash. He was tops at the combine, tops at the Senior Bowl in his athleticism. I don't want to call him a project because I don't think that that's the right term. I think he has all of the right tools, and who better to develop him than Brian Flores, a coach who is known for developing young players. And get this, I'm going to take it a little step further. I'm not making the comparison to Christian Wilkins, but I think that he could become someone similar to who Brian Flores obviously drafted first round from the Miami Dolphins. Christian Wilkins ready to start day one, obviously. But I do think that he is someone that could become that guy in the middle who could fill in the hole from Dalvin Tomlinson and be a nice new best friend for Harrison Phillips.
That would be nice. To be able to stop the run, something I feel like we haven't done in quite some time here. That would be great if we can get a young guy who just has a motor like the guy you just said.
I've got my eye on him. Now I know that we only have this one pick today to watch right now, as of right now. We also know that Kwesi likes to wheel and deal, likes to see how much value he can get for things. And being that we're the team with the least amount of draft picks this year, Ron, what are the chances, or what can you do to move the one pick from today and maybe capitalize on it, make a round 2 pick, or add something else to the table?
Well, if you look at 2024, the Vikings have a 4th-round pick from the Lions. They did give the Lions their 3rd-round pick for T.J. Hockenson, but they have their 2nd-round pick in 2024. So if you're like, I don't really think it's that big of a deal next year, and you can still leverage 2025 and 2024, you can dig into your 2024 stash. I mean, they have a decent number of picks when you look at the list. 6th round, 7th round, 5th round, 2 fourths, switch fourths with the Lions, but got one from the Eagles as well. No, sorry, they got 2 fourths. They got one from the Eagles and they got one from the Lions, and then they gave their 3rd up. So that is a way to do it. They do have a 1st round pick as well in 2024, but it's just figuring out how to do it. There's also some players on the roster, I won't say active names, but there's some players on the roster that are rumored to possibly be in the trade, opportunity, and there's some big names out there. And so if you do feel like you want to move on from these guys that either don't want to be here or want more money and you don't have the money to pay them, this is a way to do it. Go get a 2nd-round pick, move from those guys now, and get a guy, like the kid out of Northwestern. Like I said, I saw him play against the Gophers. He's a monster. Like he does. And John Michael Schmidt is the #1 center in the draft, and he held his own against John Michael Schmidt. So, I think that's a kid that could be really good as a D tackle when you look at the Big Ten as a whole.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. Confidence.
Ryan, you hit that right on the head. I think the best bet for this Minnesota Vikings team is probably trading a current player on this roster if they want to move up or move back or gain more capital. That is the only way, especially with 4 picks in the next 6 rounds. But who knows? This Minnesota Vikings team, we don't know how Kwesi is going to foresee the future, but we do know he is a New York Wall Street type of guy. So he's thinking about trading, thinking about future investment. So there are players on this roster that have a lot of value and that you can do some day of trades in this NFL draft, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, wheeling and dealing. That's the phrase I like.
Every time I hear trading, I think of the movie Trading Places.
No,
with,
I think
Eddie
of Wall Street.
You just dated yourself hardcore.
I know, I did. But I just thought about the fact that the whole movie was about like pork bellies and gold and whatever. And so you look at the players and you say, how can I make this player seem more valuable to other teams that want them and get a higher pick? So it's kind of like the Trading Place with Eddie Murphy. You got to make your stock look better so they buy high, and then you can get in there and draft somebody low. And then, like you said, younger guys, if you can keep these guys under 1st-round contracts, 1st-year contracts, or 1st contracts, and they're like under 26, that's huge. And Jordan Addison is going to be one of them. Like he'll be 25, and he'll still be under his 1st deal. So.
Ron, I really doubted where you were going to take that, but you ended
did a
really nice finish. It was a nice finish.
That was solid. You did bring that home.
Right. You brought it home. Well, we're going to bring your draft content home for the rest of the weekend. Be sure to stick with the Vikings app, Vikings.com, or any of our social media channels like YouTube. For anything up to date, we'll have exclusive interviews with the picks. We'll also hear from Coach and Kwesi, as well as analysis in the moment. You can catch the NFL Draft on ABC, NFL Network, or ESPN tonight, 6 o'clock with rounds 2 and 3. And be sure to stick with Vikings.com. Thanks to Gabe. Thanks to Ron for being here. I'm Tatum Everett. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and have a great rest of the draft weekend. Oh, I guess.